Hey, how are you doing? Bill DeWeese here from voice-over-training.org asking you, do you know EARL? If you don't know EARL, you need to get to know him because EARL can make a significant impact on your voiceover income. But before we get into that, let me take just a second to introduce you to Bill DeWeese. Myself, in case you're new to my website, which is voice-over-training.org, or perhaps you're new to my YouTube channel, VoiceOver Expert. Maybe you're new to the voiceover industry in general. So let me give you just a brief bit of background on myself. I am a full-time working voiceover talent, actually coming to you today from my studio in my home, where I record, and you've probably heard me on radio and TV commercials. In addition to that, I record a lot of audiobooks, a lot of corporate narration, and as a matter of fact, in addition to that kind of stuff, I do a lot of in-store commercial work. For instance, if you've been in the hardware department of Sears browsing the lawnmowers, you may have stopped by a video kiosk where I have explained and demonstrated the features and the benefits of one of the Sears riding mowers. If you've strolled through a Best Buy in the electronics department or the TV department specifically, and stopped by one of the kiosks to see the features and the benefits of the latest and the greatest LG electronics, you perhaps have heard my voice there, as well as many other places and on hold for different companies, training narrations. I mean, you name it. If it falls under the banner of voiceover, I have probably done it and recorded it at some point in my career. So I am a full-time working voiceover talent. But in addition to that, I am a high-performance voiceover talent and performance coach. And many people do ask me, well, if you're such a successful voiceover talent, and I do make a multiple six-figure income as a working voiceover talent, why is it that you would even bother as a voiceover coach? Well, I do believe the old saying that we're not what we do, but we do what we are. And by that, I mean I have a deep passion for training and teaching and coaching and mentoring. And actually, I have a formal background in education as a college professor, also prior to working in voiceovers. I was working for a corporate training company where my job would be to go into to Fortune 500 companies and help to create high-performance learning environments for their employees. So in addition to having the passion to do it, I actually have the academic and the business credentials to help people learn to operate in a peak state for peak performance and high efficiency. And that I'm using that and applying that within the voiceover field to work and coach other people to be successful in their careers. And success is defined differently for different people, but for most of us, it's simply, maybe at the very basic level, it's to be able to support ourselves and our families. And if we can just get to that level, at least for most voiceover talent, I think most will be very happy. And so that's what I do. And certainly I want to work with voiceover talent to achieve their peak potential, whatever that is. But at the very minimum, helping you to create a consistent income that you can support yourself and your family so that you can do this professionally, not just out of love or as a hobby. And certainly we do it because we love it, but we do it as a job, do it as a career choice, do it something that we know we can build and depend, again, to support ourselves and our family. So again, just very briefly, that's my background. So let me talk to you about EARL. As I mentioned at the beginning of this particular video, EARL can make a huge impact on your voiceover business, on your voiceover career, and you've probably figured out by now, EARL is not actually a person, but rather an acronym. And so let's talk about what the four letters of EARL stand for and how you can use those and you can implement them in your voiceover business to make a huge difference, to help you create and generate a substantial income as a performing voiceover talent. Let's talk about E first of all. The E in EARL stands for engage. Before you do anything else as a voiceover talent, you have to engage the process. And this is the one thing that many people actually, where they fall, where they stumble, where they falter, they don't engage enough to be able to sustain themselves to deal with the trials and tribulations and the hurdles and the difficulties, because, let's be honest, it doesn't matter whether you're getting into the voiceover business or you're becoming a plumber, or you want to be a corporate executive, it doesn't matter. There are going to be obstacles that you have to face. There will be learning curves that you have to work through. And it's no different in voiceover. Regardless of whether it's a dream and a fantasy of yours or not, there is real work involved in pursuing this or any other career. So engaging the process E, engage. That works on two different levels. One, there is the emotional engagement. In other words, you mentally and emotionally have to own the fact that you want to be and you are committed to becoming a voiceover talent. A lot of people think about it. A lot of people talk about it. Fewer people yet really emotionally attach themselves to the point where they will hold on regardless of what happens. So first of all, you have to emotionally attach yourself and engage in the process, that you're committed. Secondly is the physical act, because wanting and wishing and hoping and even being emotionally committed doesn't mean anything if you're not willing to put feet to that and to actually act on that. And so engaging the process, first of all, I would ask you just to take an inventory. Have you committed yourself mentally, emotionally, to the process? Because certainly that is involved and is necessary. Secondly, are you putting feet to that commitment and actually doing the work necessary to allow you to move forward in your voiceover career and in your voiceover business? So that's the first step. If you're not doing that, then the rest of it really doesn't matter. You have to engage the process. A, the second letter, A, means awareness. Once you've engaged the process and you begin to contact agents and prospective clients, you'll find out that your biggest challenge is to create awareness of yourself. And this is the big marketing dilemma. And I suppose this is probably, having a background in marketing and in business has helped me in this area as much as in any other. And that is, if you've worked in marketing or business, you understand that your biggest challenge is simply to get noticed. That people there are so many things that compete for people's attention. And just to be able to get somebody's attention, just to have you show up as a blip on somebody's radar, can be a pretty big undertaking. So the first process, or the first step in the process of becoming a successful voice talent, once you've engaged the process, is to create awareness, to find ways to allow your prospective clients to know that you exist, that you are there. And there are ways to do that. And these are things that I talk about in more detail in some of my programs. But there are ways, and if you have a background in marketing sales, you already are familiar with many of these techniques and processes. But you have to create awareness. You have to let people know that you exist, that you are there. So that's the second step. That's the A in EARL. The R in EARL is relationship. Once you've created awareness, you will soon learn that maintaining awareness is another job altogether. So you can be engaged in the process. You can say, hey, I'm here, to agents, prospective clients, and they may acknowledge that you're there. But the next week, the next month, certainly the next year, they will have forgotten about you, in the sense that they are busy with other things. There's a lot of other things competing for their attention. They have a lot of priorities. So once you've created awareness, you can't be fooled into thinking that that's enough. Because what happens is once you become a blip on the radar, you begin to go back under the radar again. And you must find strategic ways of making sure that you market yourself so that you begin to create a relationship. So it's more than just awareness, that there's constant awareness, and you actually begin to engage in a relationship with your clients. And there are different ways that you can do that, strategic ways that you can do that, that keep you on the radar, a blip on the radar of the screen of your prospective clients, and that begin to create a relationship where it's not just you saying, hey, I'm here, but it's them beginning to say, hey, I acknowledge you're there, and you know what, I think I have some work that you may be suitable for coming up, so let's stay in touch. You begin to develop a relationship. That relationship may involve you actually doing work for them, or may just begin with a conversation, a dialogue that continues. I have people that I've literally engaged and kept a dialogue going with for years before they ever hired me for a job. On the other hand, I've had others who have hired me on the spot. So you never know exactly where a client or prospective client is in that cycle of the buying cycle, or of using a voiceover talent. You never know. So it takes a lot of patience, but you have to be purposeful and strategic in making sure that you nurture not only your awareness, but a relationship with your prospective client, because when it comes time for them to hire a voiceover talent, you want to make sure that it's you that they think of, that it's you that they hire. So the next step, fourth and final, the L in EARL, is loyalty. Once you've engaged in the process, you've committed yourself. Once you've said, hey, I'm here, you've created awareness. Once you've begun to create a dialogue have nurtured a relationship with a client, then what happens, and this is the most exciting part, and this is really what took me from a six-figure income to a multiple six-figure income in my voiceover career, is in creating loyalty with your clients. In all honesty, I really didn't understand the power of this until this past year. I understood how to engage, how to get on the radar. I understood how to cultivate the relationship, but I didn't really fully appreciate what the power of the loyalty of that relationship would do until this past, well, it's been the past year or two, when my income, instead of slowing down, has actually accelerated and has grown faster than it did in the earlier part of my career. Because what's happening now is that clients know and they understand, they know they can trust me. They know what I'm capable of. They know that I deliver what I say I will deliver. They know that I'll do what I say I can do. We have not only a relationship, but there's loyalty now. I have moved beyond, and this is what will happen with you over time. You'll move beyond a commodity. And a commodity is where there's a bunch of, being a voiceover talent makes you a commodity. There's a bunch of us, and it's easy to pick one over the other because we're a commodity. There's not a whole lot that may make or seemingly make you more special over somebody else, or may make me seem more special than another talent. If they don't use me, they'll use somebody else. But what happens over time, and you create a relationship, and they get to know you, they begin to trust you, they know you'll deliver, they know you're a person of your word, that you'll do what you say you'll do, then there's loyalty. Now, it's not so easy for them to say, you know what, instead of using you, I'll use somebody else. It's, no, we know this person. We trust this person. We've worked with this person. We don't want to take the time and the effort to nurture and grow a relationship with somebody else. We want to use them. And so you become the first person that client goes to when they have a job. When that happens, something very powerful happens. You begin to get consistent work and growing amounts of work from your existing clients as you continue to cultivate these other new clients. So when you engage, when you create awareness, when you develop a relationship, and then finally you build loyalty that moves you beyond the commodity stage to being a valued and a premium service for that particular client, then you are really on the fast track to not only growing your income, and sure, I mean, it's great to make good money as a voiceover talent, but it's so gratifying to be self-employed, to do something that you love and that you're passionate about, and maybe above all, your family to know that you're doing this for real, because you know what it's like. Your husband or your wife says, "Now you're going to do what for a living?" Well, all of those doubts, all of those questions, all of those raised eyebrows, they kind of fade away in the distance once you've gone through the process of EARL, and you've allowed EARL to help you to grow your business. So follow those 4 steps, and it does take patience, and it does take determination, it does take commitment, but you will see a significant growth in your voiceover career and your voiceover business as you take those steps. Now, if you have a lot of questions about, okay, how do I go through this process? And admittedly, it's easy to list 4 steps to success, right? It's another thing altogether to actually execute those. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into all of this, all of the steps of building a voiceover career and a voiceover business. And that's why I want to invite you to my next voiceover playbook seminar. My playbook is essentially my marketing plan. It's what I do step by step, what I've done over the past 6+ years to grow my voiceover business, my voiceover career to where it is today. And I'm happy to say that it continues to grow quickly. I haven't stalled, I haven't stopped. It went to 6 figures, multiple 6 figures. It keeps going from there. And I love teaching people what it is that I do, the steps that I take, the strategies that I implement, exactly, the details of putting, meat on the bones of what this looks like on a day-to-day, on an hour-by-hour basis. So I want to invite you to my next voiceover playbook seminar where we'll sit down, actually in my studio and in my learning center, which is just outside of the Chicago, it's in the Chicago area, just outside of Chicago, and we'll do it it's an entire day. It's a 9 to 5 seminar. It's only 8 people, so once those 8 seats are filled, we're done with that one. You'll have to wait for the next one to come around, probably, probably sometime in the winter or spring. But it's coming up October the 20th. And right now I do have an early bird registration special that will save you a couple $100s on the price. If you want more information, you want to get your seat reserved, or you just have questions about it, drop me an email at voiceoverexpert voiceoverexpert@gmail.com, voiceoverexpert@gmail.com. This voiceover playbook seminar is going to answer the question of, how do I do this? I want to be a voiceover talent. I don't want it to just be a hobby. Maybe you're starting from nothing and you just want to make sure you have the right information so you don't spin your wheels and waste your time and energy and money. Or maybe you've been trying to do this for a while and it's just not working out as you expected. Or maybe you were successful 10, 15, 20 years ago and you've stalled out and you don't understand why what you did back then doesn't work anymore now. Well, the marketplace has changed. The rules of business engagement have changed. You've got to know how to market yourself in today's business environment to be successful. So these are the kind of things that we'll be talking about. You'll walk away with a very solid play-by-play plan, a voiceover playbook for your success. So again, if you want more information on that, which is coming up Saturday, October 20th, simply drop me an email at voiceoverexpert@gmail.com. Hey, good talking to you, and talk to you soon.